The fire director of Kentucky's unemployment insurance program testifies before a state legislative panel, saying the process that he witnessed was a mess.
And new details in a deadly road rage incident in Laurel County.
A flash flood watch is in effect through your Friday morning. We'll talk about the timing and impacts right now at 6.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Governor Beshear says Kentucky could be at the beginning of a new plateau with coronavirus cases. We'll have more on the governor's update in a moment, but first, it is a severe weather alert day due to the threat of flash flooding through tomorrow. Let's check in first with Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel. Paige?
Steve, we are in a flash flood watch now until tomorrow around 8 o'clock in the morning. We are going to see pockets of heavy rainfall continuing to fall throughout the evening hours, but I think we've seen majority of it fall, which is some good news. So mostly just some localized flooding issues. Shouldn't see anything widespread heading into the rest of the evening and overnight hours. So you can see the counties highlighted in green. You are in a flash flood watch. The Cumberland Valley is not in one. We'll keep an eye on you guys, but most of that heavy rain has definitely remained north of you. And like I said, we're starting to see kind of the heaviest of it get out of here. We're going to continue to see some showers and thunderstorms this evening and even later tonight, but we've seen, I think, the widespread stuff really start to get out of here. We do have a flash flood warning in effect. That's for Wolfe County, but you can see the rain has moved out of there. They'll probably maybe expire it early, but it is set to expire at around 6:45, and you're seeing just pockets of heavy rainfall moving through parts of Perry into Knott County and even areas up towards I-64, which has definitely been hit the hardest throughout the day. Tonight we're going to see temperatures drop near 70 degrees. Could be soggy at times with the heavy rainfall continuing to fall, and we are going to continue to see some rain tomorrow and even into the weekend. We're slightly cooler over the next couple of days, which is some good news, but don't worry, that sunshine returns pretty quickly heading into the second half of the weekend. I'll have those details coming up in a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you. Governor Beshear says it appears Kentuckians wearing a mask is starting to pay off. He says our increase in cases is not going up as rapidly as it once was. The state still reported 659 new cases today. 29,386 cases have been reported since the start of the pandemic. We also learned about the deaths of 7 more Kentuckians, raising the death toll to 731. But our positivity rate has dropped a bit to 5.6%. Starting tomorrow, ARH hospitals are once again putting tighter restrictions on visitors. Officials say it is because of the steady number of new cases here in eastern Kentucky. The new restrictions are similar to old guidelines from earlier in the pandemic. 2 visitors are still allowed for end-of-life situations. 1 responsible adult is allowed to accompany pediatric patients, and 1 designated support person may be with a maternity patient. As the new school year inches closer, many parents are still trying to figure out an exact start plan. To help, we made a list of all school districts in our area along with their plans to welcome students back. You can find this list over on WYMT.com. Just search for schools. All kinds of different plans out there. Well, the former director of Kentucky's unemployment office says workers were told to cut corners regardless of what the federal government was saying. Muncie McNamara was hired in January to head up the program but was let go in May. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what he had to say and why Democratic lawmakers are upset over the process.
Table, and if someone is coming.
Muncie McNamara says after businesses were forced to close in mid-March, there was an avalanche of claims that quickly overwhelmed his staff.
It seemed as if I was trying to build an airplane while I was flying it.
He says his staff was told to just get it done, to cut corners and to do things regardless of federal rules.
The policy pillars here were essentially pay everyone and do it fast, not let's get it right. Let's wait for the federal guidance.
When he was fired in May, he says his staff's state-issued phones were confiscated.
After I was fired, I was contacted by current employees of the Office of Unemployment who, out of loyalty, told me that I was being scapegoated for the problems with UI.
The problem of this magnitude.
Republican lawmakers asked most of the questions, and Democrats tried to get some in just as the meeting was ending.
Mr. Chair, no.
We have a motion
Mr. Chair.
to adjourn. All those in favor, aye.
That is a blatant suppression of voice to the 46th district that I represent.
Democrats said they wanted to ask why the Governor Bevin administration shut down career centers.
This is a debacle created by the Bevin administration. Governor Beshear inherited a unemployment system in which $16 million had been cut by the budget.
A workforce cabinet spokesman says McNamara was let go after unprofessional behavior and lack of leadership skills. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The committee also heard from the State Chamber of Commerce president, who said if federal help does not come, then Kentucky employers will face a major unemployment insurance tax increase next January. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is in Lawrence County. FBI officials confirmed what they called judicially authorized activity is underway at the Lawrence County Child Support Office in Louisa. Workers at the office told our reporter no one was available for comment, and we were unable to reach County Attorney Michael Hogan. No further information has been released by the FBI at this time. A Corbin attorney is facing a sexual harassment lawsuit. Two former Copeland and Romines employees are accusing attorney Shane Romines of showing them graphic material and touching them inappropriately. One of the employees says she was expected to tolerate that kind of behavior if she wanted to keep her job. Romines says he will be releasing a statement on the case in the next few weeks. New details on a story we first brought you last night at 11. An apparent road rage incident in southern Laurel County left 40-year-old Jack Davis of Barberville dead. Multiple shots were fired after a confrontation between both drivers. WYMT's Emily Bennett brings us the latest.
Wednesday afternoon, a call came into the Laurel County Sheriff's Office about a gunshot victim on the side of the road.
We found a gentleman that had been shot multiple times. We had an ambulance come and transport him to a local hospital.
An investigation led them to find an SUV and a pickup truck traveling on US 25E cut each other off.
Words had been exchanged, and both vehicles pulled off on a side road.
The two drivers confronted each other, both carrying pistols. Jack Davis, the driver of the SUV, was shot and later died at the hospital. The shooter has not been charged, as the case will go to court.
Compile it, put it all together, and make a presentation, and let a grand jury determine, if there needs to be an indictment.
Officials say road rage complaints are very common, but they should never end in death.
Call 911, phone it in. We'll dispatch a deputy and try to locate the vehicles involved and take care of it that way.
Deputies wanting people to rely on them to resolve the conflict. In Laurel County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
An autopsy was expected to be performed today in Frankfort. The Magoffin County Courthouse is closed until next week after an employee tested positive for COVID-19. Magoffin County Judge Executive Matthew Wireman says the employee was working as a greeter at the courthouse. She began showing allergy-type symptoms Sunday and was diagnosed with the virus Tuesday. She did not report to work Monday, but officials are closing the courthouse with the assumption that she may have been infected during the previous work week.
We don't know where she got it. We don't know when she got it. But she's home doing well. We spoke to her this morning. She's someone that we know and love. And we just got to do what's right here in Kentucky and as a nation.
Wireman says the employee was meticulous about sanitation and safety, saying this case proves that you should not be letting your guard down. 13 Eastern Kentucky McDonald's locations are soon to be under new ownership. Bob and Tom Hutchinson are selling their locations around the Paintsville area. A new owner out of Tennessee has purchased those locations, so the Hutchinson brothers said not much will change. They said the decision came to sell the locations to pursue new ventures. However, the famous Hutchinson name is not going anywhere. They said they will remain in the mountains, staying active and involved.
The thing that's keeping us here is the people. people of the mountains. People here have been great. We've been able to help a lot of people, but there's been a lot of people that's been able to help us.
The Hutchinsons say the death of their brother has re-energized their thought process, allowing them to get involved with various groups in the communities of eastern Kentucky. During this pandemic, many changes surrounding visits to the doctor have kept parents away from their child's normal checkups and not staying up to date with immunizations. Doctors and pediatricians say it is time to get back on track. WYMT's Lacey Roberts spoke with several health officials about why these visits are so important.
I've had 2 of my own patients who ended up in the intensive care unit with chickenpox pneumonia. These are preventable.
Dr. Tom James is the Chief Medical Officer of WellCare of Kentucky. With more than 2 decades in the health field, he said he is disheartened by the sudden drop in child immunization.
We've seen a little improvement in the children under the age of 2. With the children over age 2, there's been no improvement in what their immunization rates are.
Out of fear from COVID-19, many parents have stayed away from the doctor's office.
Greater safety now in going to physicians' offices than there are in taking your child to many other places around town.
Reminding parents that some things cannot be done remotely.
Pediatricians and family physicians who are giving vaccines went to doing telemedicine, and you can't give a shot through the computer screen.
And while conspiracy theorists believe that getting a vaccine makes their child sick,
the concern over what vaccines can do that's negative really has not been founded in science.
But what is the biggest concern about getting your child vaccinated? The return to school.
I try to reassure families this is important for your child. This is also important for your child's friends.
Kentucky requires child immunizations as part of the education process.
So when schools finally open, there'll be a real mad rush to get immunizations.
That is where local pediatrician Dr. Marjorie Haas with the Hazard ARH Clinic comes in, where in this area, some may not have access to proper health care.
We want to be able to provide that protection for the kids who can't be. Because the majority of kids are vaccinated, they actually protect the kids who aren't.
Protecting not only those who may have compromised immune systems, but for the future of all children. In Hazard, Lacey Roberts, WYMT Mountain News.
Haas also says with the ongoing pandemic, she urges everyone to get the upcoming flu vaccine because the flu mixed with COVID leads to a wide unknown.
And we're still seeing the scattered showers and thunderstorms move through the mountains. They're going to stick around over the next couple of days. I'll have a look at your forecast next.
And how one organization is helping out people with their bills.